Baker Mayfield had quite the 2022 season, from Carolina and struggling, all of a sudden going to the Rams, winning your first game there after being on the team for only about 2 days. It was quite the year for Mayfield, and now he finds himself in Tampa Bay. And there's a lot of things to go over when it comes to Baker Mayfield. So we're going to jump right into it. He had 2,163 passing yards last year, 10 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Before we talk about anything, I want to make it very clear. I actually like Baker Mayfield. Even as a Panthers fan, and he greatly disappointed, Baker Mayfield is a competitor. You can say what you want about him. Maybe he sucks. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's overhated. Maybe he's overrated. Maybe he's underrated. Whatever you think, he's a competitor. And he's going to go out there and he's going to compete every single game that he plays because he has a lot of love for football. And you can tell the way he plays that there's a lot of passion there. So I want to make that very clear that I do like him. And now let's get into the video. So first off, he starts out the season in Carolina. I'm going to do a brief kind of overview of last year before getting into this year things. First game against his old team, he nearly wins, but he actually has a pretty good game. He had a deep ball to Robbie Anderson. He looked fairly accurate for his first game on a new team, the new offense and new players. Then the Giants, you lose. And that's when I started kind of getting a little scared because we lose that one. You play New Orleans. Okay, we win. Wasn't the craziest game, though. Baker's best play was really just a screen pass to Laviska Shenault that he just happened to run like 60 yards. So that's for the end zone. And then after that, Mayfield's season took quite the turn. So you lose to Arizona. You get stomped by San Francisco. You come in. I mean, Cincinnati doesn't really count. P.J. Walker played that. Mayfield got thrown in there. And he did actually score a few touchdowns. So that was against like second string guys. It doesn't really matter. Baltimore. Baltimore was really my last straw was probably the Cardinals, but Baltimore was my last straw. I mean, that was 13-3. The Panthers had a chance to win that game. They had multiple chances, and Mayfield got bad down at the line. He threw 2 interceptions. That was when it was like, you know what, get this out of here. And then he gets traded to the Rams and wins against the Raiders in primetime football after being on the team for, I think, 48 hours, learning the playbook for what he could learn on the plane, and then passing to guys that he's never passed to before, which is so, like, I don't want that to go understated, that, like, or not said enough, whatever you want to say. Like, that is unbelievably difficult to do in the NFL, first off. So from a guy that can't even get the ball over the O-line in Carolina because it gets batted down so much, going to primetime football, coming back down 2 scores to win by 1 point. I mean, I don't know. I whatever you get to say with that one, I don't know. I have no words for that game. It was unreal watching that unfold because he scores a touchdown, and you think, okay, they're down 1 score, and then the Raiders punt it, and the Rams are down like their own 2-yard line. They got like 98 yards. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's not happening. You got Mayfield, and he somehow makes his way down there. There was one penalty that helped him out, but other than that, he had a pass to like Skoranek. I mean, he had, I think, a pass to Atwell. And then he throws a touchdown to Van Jefferson. Like, it was unreal to watch. I want to make that very clear. That game is probably the highlight of Baker's career. That is unreal. But moving past that, Green Bay, they kill Denver, and then you lose the last 2 games. And now you find yourself in Tampa Bay. Now, I'm not going to lie. As a Panthers fan, I don't like Tampa Bay. I'm going to openly say that. And I hope they suck. And I think they will suck. But Baker Mayfield might be finding himself on Tampa Bay as his kind of last chance in the NFL here. I mean, you go from Cleveland, where I honestly think Cleveland kind of did him dirty, bringing in Deshaun like that. Mayfield actually made the Browns compete again. I mean, you almost beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. It literally came down to a 4th down. So I think they maybe did him a little dirty, but you go to Carolina and you suck. You go to the Rams and you're fine. You're not really great, but you're okay. So you go to Tampa Bay. This is probably Mayfield's last chance to be a starter in the NFL. I don't know where else he would go if he's not a starter. And if he wants to be a starter, seriously, I don't know where else he's going to go. Otherwise, he had to be a backup. And he'd probably be one of the better backups in the league. But it seems like he wants to be a starter, so this is his chance to prove it. And now we're on to Tampa Bay. So we're going to go to the Buccaneers. We're going to go to their depth chart, and we're going to talk through some things. So as of right now, ESPN has it listed as Mayfield as the starting quarterback. So take that with, however you will. They have Rashad White as a running back, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Russell Gage as their receivers and Cade Otton as their tight end. They actually have pretty good weapons. I want to make that very clear. Chris Godwin is a phenomenal receiver, and Mike Evans is the definition of consistency. Rachaad White is actually supposed to have a pretty good year. It's just all comes down to the quarterback. And Baker Mayfield, from what I've seen, hasn't looked great in the offseason. The QB battle between him and Kyle Trask was kind of hilarious to watch, where they kept missing passes back and forth. It was pretty funny. And it really comes down to what Mayfield can do, because in Carolina, there was a unbelievable amount of passes that were batted down at the line of scrimmage. I don't really know why, because Panthers drafted Bryce Young, and he's had one pass batted down so far. That's it. So I don't know if Mayfield just couldn't have the passing, couldn't see the passing windows. I have no idea. I'm not sure if that'll be a reoccurring thing in Tampa Bay. I don't even know if it was in LA once he got traded there. But Mayfield does have a chance to succeed. Personally, I think the Buccaneers are going to be bad because of the quarterback situation. But if Mayfield all of a sudden is able to get himself together, he's got weapons. You have Rachaad White, you have Mike Evans, and you have Chris Godwin. Mike Evans has put up unbelievable numbers despite his quarterback every year of his career. It's kind of similar to DJ Moore, but Mike Evans has been a bit more consistent than Moore, and that's coming from a Panthers fan. But it's I don't think he's ever had, I know he's never had a season below 1,000 yards through Jameis Winston. I mean, you get Tom Brady, but still, he hasn't had always the best quarterback. I think this will be the test to see if he can get 1,000 yards, but still, he has a chance to still continue to get 1,000 yards, and Mayfield has the opportunity to actually have competent weapons around him. I do think that is another thing for Mayfield, is he's never had the craziest weapons. You have Odell in Cleveland, but he just didn't give him the ball. I don't know why. I really don't know why. And you had Jarvis Landry there as well. So you did have pretty good weapons there, but I would honestly say Mike Evans and Chris Godwin's probably better, because I don't think Landry was really putting up the biggest numbers at the time, and I think Odell just didn't get the ball, so we just never have to see if he could put the biggest numbers at the time. But Mike Evans, year after year, is incredibly consistent. Chris Godwin had a great year last year coming off the ACL tear. It's all there for Mayfield. It's really just a matter of if he can put that together or not. And to me, I don't think he does. I have kind of given up on him. I think he isn't he's a fun player to root for, because you can tell him how much fun he has when he plays. But I just don't see how Mayfield kind of comes back from this. But let's talk about Kyle Trask for a second, because this is a Mayfield video, but I do want to mention Kyle Trask. We haven't really seen much of him, so we don't really know what Trask can do. Pretty decent at Florida, NFL-wise. I'm not really sure, but the same thing goes for him. The weapons are there. You don't have the best tight end or really the best wide receiver number 3. Russell Gage is solid, but let's not say he's like a solid wide receiver 3. He's going to make some plays, but I don't think he's going to have a huge impact. But your best 2 receivers and your running back are league-wide pretty darn good. Another thing to consider is that maybe the systems just haven't been right for Mayfield. And I know I'm not going to give him excuses. Believe me, I'm not giving him any excuses. But if it has been like that, where an offense just really hasn't fit him properly, maybe this is a better fit. Or maybe they cater it more to Mayfield. I don't really know, because the Buccaneers don't have a lot of options. You have to make Mayfield or Trask work, or it's going to be a long season. And I really hope they don't get Caleb Williams, because I just had to watch the Panthers play Drew Brees 2 times a year for the past however many years, and then Tom Brady. So I would really like it if they don't draft a next incredible quarterback. But as far as Mayfield goes, I do think this is his last chance in the NFL to be a starter. I do think he has an opportunity to have especially because the schedule. You don't play the craziest team. Carolina, I think they had the opportunity to be pretty good, but as of right now, going off last year, they're not that good. Neither are the Falcons. Neither are the Saints. It's not like you're in the AFC North or something. The competition is not at the highest level. You can compete. It's just a matter of if Mayfield can do it or not. I think if the system is right, or Mayfield gets some confidence again, or maybe it's just one of those things where all of a sudden, kind of like Geno Smith, he's just able to play. He has players that will definitely be able to kind of help him on that offense as far as checkdowns go, as far as deep threats go, as far as jump ball receivers go. The Buccaneers, it's just so questionable whether or not they're going to. It's kind of boom or bust. It really just kind of boom or bust. And you might be wondering why I decided to make a video on Baker Mayfield for the Buccaneers when I could have made it on Mike Evans or someone exciting. And I really wanted to actually make it on Baker Mayfield, because I mean, it's his last chance. This is a former #1 overall pick. I mean, he had a ton of hype coming out of college, and he's had not a #1 overall pick level career, but he's had a somewhat respectable career. He's had big plays. He kind of brought a lot of excitement back to Cleveland. Did nothing in Carolina, but I mean, he did some stuff in Cleveland at least. So I do want to kind of put some focus on Baker Mayfield and watch him this year, see what he can do. The only thing is he does not have a lot of room for error. If he is the starter, it's not going to take much to pull him and put Kyle Trask in there and see what he can do, and vice versa. So it's going to be an interesting QB battle in Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield, in my opinion, kind of on the last leg of his career as being a starter. So we'll see how that all goes. Thank you guys for watching. I do really appreciate it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for all kinds of more NFL videos like this. We do NFL player predictions. And again, I think we have 4 more days of this, and then team predictions start way more in depth, going into each team's offense, defense, coaching, notable players, schedule, all that kind of stuff. We also do week picks when the season's going on, and NFL tier list videos. So plenty of football content on the channel. I also do Madden videos whenever Madden 24 drops. So thank you guys for watching. I do really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.